we have a whiskey that I'm really excited about. This is Foregate. This is the second batch of Foregate. This is called Outer Loop Orbit. Comes from Foregate. They were kind enough to send me a sample of this. Let me pull up this image for you guys to see what's going on with this whiskey, because this is a very interesting whiskey. So this is Foregate. Blend of 5.5 and 12-year Kentucky Straight bourbons. Now they don't disclose which, where this is from or whatnot. The cool thing about Foregate, and they did this with their first batch as well, was they actually finished their whiskey in different types of casks. So for batch 2, they're finishing it in orange Curaçao-Gin casks. So the orange Curaçao barrels are actually from the Parker's Heritage release that Heaven Hill did, a year ago, 2 years ago now, whatever it was. So they're finishing in that, and it kind of worries me a little bit, honestly. It kind of worries me. We've got 12-year mash bill, 5.5-year mash bill. They're on the screen there. I'm not going to read them to you. But the proof on this, it's nice. 60.15% ABV. Now you are speaking my language. I like it. I like it a lot. Only 2,400 bottles of this, though. Only 2,400 bottles of this total, so very limited. Tough to get your hands on, but I am super, super pumped to try this. So, like I said, it could go one of two ways, so we're going to see. And it does MSRP at $200. So, let's pour it. Let's pour it and let's talk about it a little bit before we get into the candy portion of the night. Nicholas Burt, how are you? Thank you for being here. I've got my new Bourbon Junkies glass. You can see that or not. Thanks to the boys there. Whew, I can smell this immediately when I just cracked that bottle there. Congratulations to Dan, by the way, Bourbon Junkies. He just had a new baby girl. Big time for him. Sure, he's under a lot of stress, very little sleep, but there he is. How you doing, brother? Just putting the kids to bed. There you are. I was just saying, congratulations. Congratulations to you. All right, Foregate, batch 2, Outer Loop Orbit. Let's go into it a little bit. Ooh, okay. So the gin influence immediately on the nose. It's very piney, very pine forward. Citrus and pine for sure. So me personally, I'm actually a fan of gin. I actually really like gin, and especially good gin. So I don't know if I'll mind. I don't know if I'll mind this or not. Michael Klein, how you doing, bud? Good to see you. I don't know. It almost, on the nose, it kind of smells like a barrel-finished gin versus a bourbon finished in a gin barrel. You know what I mean? It kind of smells that way. Not too bad. I mean, you still get the sweetness from the bourbon coming through. A lot of baking spices. $200 though. I haven't tasted it yet. All right, let's give it a sip. Everyone tell me, what are you sipping on tonight? Tell me if you have your candy ready. What kind of candy do you have? And what are you going to be pairing it with? Let's go into this. Cheers, guys. Woo! Woo! First pour of the night, so that's stinging the mouth a little bit. Coats really well, though. Nice mouth coating. The gin is actually quite mellow on the palate. I wasn't getting it was very citrusy on the nose, like I mentioned, but the orange wasn't super potent. It was more the gin coming through. A lot more orange on the palate, though. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this. It's tough. Well, on the palate for me, initial front of the palate, it's overly sweet to me. I did try the Parker's Heritage, the orange carousel finish, and I was not a fan of that release at all. Way too heavy on the orange for me in that release. This isn't near to the level of orange sweetness I was getting out of that Parker's, but it's still pretty sweet. It's still pretty sweet. The gin and the orange together, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like the orange is almost a botanical for the gin they're using. Jason says he thinks it tastes like a Christmas tree with oranges on it as oranges. With oranges on it as oranges. Yeah, it's definitely Christmassy. Like, it's a winter whiskey for sure. I mean, like midwinters is all Christmas baking spices, you know, and this has some of those baking spices that are like that, but it might just be a little too funk for me. It might be. A lot of people would love this, and if you don't mind the gin, like I don't mind the gin at all, because the gin is potent. Oh, ornaments. Oranges as ornaments. That makes more sense, Jason. Perfect. I was like, oranges as oranges? Well, yeah, but... As this is opening up in the glass, the gin's coming out a lot more for me. It's getting a lot more piney. Again, I don't mind it, but if someone is not a gin fan, you know, if you're a bourbon fan and you're not a gin fan, you're gonna have to steer clear of this because that gin is definitely coming through. For sure. Yeah. Michael, it did. The gin absolutely made it very piney. I mean, like you said, pine tree. You know, that note is very potent and very pungent. It came through. Their first batch, though, like batch 1 of Foregate, honestly, one of the best whiskeys I had of whatever year that was, 2018 last year, was it? I am going to be doing a best whiskeys of 2019 episode as well. I'll probably just talk about whiskeys I was able to try in 2019. So that would be like Foregate, a couple really good store picks. The 18 Stag I reviewed in 2019. So I'll probably do that type of stuff. Unless I can really load up on some BTAC soon. Which is not looking good. Not looking good here. Boy, this whiskey is interesting. Before I finish this up real quick, but very interesting. Now, as the glass is almost gone, on the nose, the gin is very mellowed. It's very, very interesting. It's like that. It's a good whiskey. It's definitely a good whiskey, but I personally would be hard pressed to pay $200 for it. You know, just my opinion. Just my opinion.